Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. Star Agent Starco Gaming here, back with another Marvel Future Fight video. Guys, make sure to check the description below the video for the link to our giveaways, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like this video to show your support to the channel, guys. So the next uniform to review with the Endgame update, guys, on our list is Rocket Raccoon. So my first impression on Rocket Raccoon, guys, is I am not impressed, but I am not either, disappointed with this uniform. I think this uniform is a okay uniform. It's a little boost from the previous uniform, the Infinity War uniform. A better boost than Iron Man and the War Machine got, obviously. But I'll barely put that uniform above both of those uniforms because it doesn't bring that much. It pretty much just bring a defense down buff, and for the rest of the skills, the damage output is close to similar, so nothing that impressive, but that defense down obviously helps a lot in doing more damage, which is going to make him a lot stronger for Shallow Land. I do believe he's going to be able to hunt for Shallow Land floor 70 plus with a good build, and for Wall Boss Ultimate I can see this guy pushing over stage 40 Corvus Glaive in Wall Boss Ultimate. So he is good. He is pretty good. Well, I recommend this uniform if you have extra crystal and you got the best uniform. Yes, this is not a bad uniform to get, but I will not push for it. If you already have the Infinity War uniform, you are a free-to-play player. I will have to say, don't waste your crystal on it. It won't benefit you enough to actually make it worth your crystal, in my personal opinion. But it's obviously an upgrade for a Rocket Raccoon. It's just I just wish they did a little bit better upgrade, and he actually lost a little bit of survivability with this uniform, because the previous uniform, he had Groot healing coming with it on the 5th skill. Now it doesn't have it, so he has no healing now, so that makes him lose a little bit of survivability. But if you play his skills properly with longer iframe with the 4th skill that apply the defense down too, well, that makes it okay to actually lose that healing, in my personal opinion. So this guy is a very good guy. Like I said, Wall Boss Ultimate is going to be where he shine with Shallow Lands. You give him a proper build. PvP is total trash, guys. Seriously, total trash. You're going to see it in the PvP gameplay. I could not get anything done in PvP with him, to be honest. I tried him against a pretty standard tier 2 team, guys, and he just got his ass handed to him. So I'm very disappointed with him in PvP. Maybe in Alien Conquest, with the full team where the other targets don't heavily focus him, you will be able to keep those iframes going. But in timeline or 1 versus 1 in PvP, he is not getting the job done. That's for sure. So mainly a PvE focus characters for Shallow Land, iFloor, and Wall Boss Ultimate between stage 35 and 40. That I think that's where most people are going to be standing with this guy in Wall Boss Ultimate. So we're gonna have gameplay, guys, in this video. I always have gameplay in my review, but first we're gonna go through the build, the changes, my skill rotation actually that I recommend, and all that stuff. Then we're gonna jump in the gameplay section where we have Wall Boss Ultimate Corvus Glaive stage 30. We have story mode 13.1 on autoplay, and pretty squishy in there, to be honest. That Rocket Raccoon took a lot of damage, and we have this terrible PvP gameplay that I actually want to show you. Usually I try to get a win when I show PvP gameplay in a review, but for this guy, I wanted to show how weak he is in PvP against a regular PvP team, pretty much. So that's what we're going to be covering in the gameplay section. But before we jump there, let's get started with the stats, the build, and the review of the uniform changes and skills. So my Rocket Raccoon is level 60, guys, rank 2194. Gear is level 20. Obviously, we have 4-star amplify, 4-slot amplify hero on each gear, I believe so. Let's go take a quick look. 4, 4, 4, and 4. Oh, this one is 5, and we're pretty much we're trying to min-max critical rate, critical damage with putting energy attack as much as possible on the hero for him. I don't have an issue with the in-or defense. I don't have an issue with cooldown, so that's pretty much myself. And guys, also, you don't want to give him too much attack speed, because if you have too much attack speed, his kill animation are going to be too fast, and it's actually going to decrease its survivability, that kind of character. Now, if we look at the stat sheet here, we have max cooldown, maxing your defense. He has 30% dodge coming from his tier 2 passive, max critical damage, 56% critical rate, 118% attack speed, has 18,000 energy attack, and one thing that's really hard on him, guys, it is his HP. You look at that, 23,281 HP. That is a very, very, very low for a tier 2, guys. That makes him be very easy to kill, which is why it doesn't perform well in PvP. And in Shadowland or World Boss Ultimate, if you get it, you can pretty much say bye-bye to your Rocket Raccoon. So you have to play him properly to be able to survive with him properly because of that low HP. If we look at enhancement type, nothing there, not really worth it. You have a lot more important characters to get that up before him for sure. ESO set, we're running with the Hawkeyes ESO set, nothing awakens, so a set bonus stage 6 in effect. We have all attack critical rate, critical damage at 8.5%, dodge and cooldown 8.1%, activation rate 12% chance when attacking, plus 20% increase of all attack, for 20 seconds with a cooldown time of 60 seconds. Now, if we look at my custom gear, it is not the best, guys. It is not the best, which is why I actually went with a stage 30 instead of a stage 35, for example, because if I had a better proc on this guy, I could actually go much higher. Like I said, at level 70, gear 25, a good obelisk, this guy could clear Corvus 40 plus without sweating too much. But with my current obelisk and a level 60, stage 30 was pretty much where I was feeling comfortable to clear with. So that's my obelisk here. Nice critical damage to the cap on critical damage possible on that obelisk. That's pretty sweet. But the proc is a little bit low, but we got to deal with it. Now, if we take a look at the uniform, guys. Well, first uniform effect, uniform bonus applied to self, 10% in your defense. Actually quite useful if you have low in your defense on cards or whatever. It makes your life much, much, much easier to actually have your max in your defense, that's for sure. You also get 25% increase of all attacks on the uniform bonus, which is actually pretty sweet. Then you get 5 skill changes. Well, every single skill is changed from his basic look pretty much. So all skill changes a little bit, pretty much all different from the previous uniform, which is actually great. It's not, you know, lazy setup like they did with Iron Man and War Machine, obviously. So it's actually entertaining that that we have that option to have more you know, more skill changes on this guy. And the skills are actually pretty decent, but you only use like 3 skills or maybe 4 skill in that skill rotation here, guys, with this guy pretty much. Okay, so if we look at the skills, guys, we have the first skills, weapon specialist, tier 2 passive applied to self, ignore target dodge rate by 30%. Very useful to fight Corvus Glaives. Corvus Glaives, to be honest, because you can bring a less, well, less, how you call them, a striker with ignore dodge. So that's very nice. Increased skill damage by 42%, increased bonus damage by 30%. Then we have the tier 1 passive, activation rate. When skill covering fire is used, here there's a mistake in that sentence, guys, because it's when skill boom is used, applied to self, guards against 5 hits for 3 seconds. They say covering fire here because on his original look, it's covering fire. They just forgot to actually change the text on it and put it in a skill change in the uniform bonus option, whatever. skill changes and uniform skill changes. I guess they got lazy on that part. So when you use your second skill here, you get 5 guards hit. So that's the tier 1 passive. Leadership, a piece of crap leadership, guys. Well, unless you do not have max skill cooldown on your character's activation rate. When dealing critical attacks, decrease skill cooldown by 30% for 10 seconds with a cooldown time of 10 seconds. So it's always up. If you are a new player or you have terrible cards and you have terrible skill cooldown, well, it can actually be a decent leadership, to be honest. Now the skills. The skills, guys. What skill do you want your procs on and what skill you don't want it on? Well, that's the big question. But first, we gotta take a quick look at that. First, we have Bomb Away. This skill have a small iframe on it. If you're in trouble, good to be used. But other than that, the damage is pretty weak on it. Second skill, you pretty much just use that skill to get that guards against it to make sure that you won't take too much extra damage, pretty much. Third skill, it's a very good skill mainly for Shadowland because it will paralyze the targets. The guided bomb will actually go to the targets instead of going to a specific location like the previous uniform and basic look. Instead of going to basic targeted location, they go to the mobs around the room. So if you have 3 mobs around the room, well, they all gonna get 1 bomb on each of them, which is going to increase your damage, that's for sure, and will paralyze all the target that it hits, which is very useful. Then you have the fourth skill here, Space Bombardment, applied to enemies, stun for 3 seconds. Basically, the enemies are stunned for the duration of the skill. Deal 25% burn damage every 1 second for 5 seconds. 25% chance of missing attacks for 3 seconds, quite useful. Minus 40% decrease of all defense for 3 seconds. So you apply all defense decrease at the end of the skills, guys. It's at the end of the skill that happened. So you want to get that all defense decrease for your next skill. You're going to use what's your proc, which is actually going to be your 5th skill. 5th skill is the best damaging ability, and you want to have your proc on that skill as much as possible. So what is this skill? A Ragtag Assault. Applied to enemies, silence 5 seconds, stun 3 seconds, a lot of CC obviously. Deal 35% shock damage every 1 second. The shock actually comes from Thor showing up and doing lightning damage. Pretty much Thor show up and does his 3rd skill from his Infinity War uniform to apply shock damage. Deal 35% burn damage every 1 second for 5 seconds. Applied to self. 100% chance for immunity to all damage for 6 seconds. Increase all attack by 15%, all defense by 15%, all speed by 15%, and some physical attack, physical damage of energy damage. And the cooldown is 7.5 seconds on this skill. So it's your main survivability skill in addition of being your best damaging ability. So the rotation is really, guys, well, when you're going to start your fights, you're going to start with the 5th skills because you want your proc on your 5th skill. Then after that, after you use your 5th skill, you're going to use your 2nd skills, get your guards against it to increase your survivability. Then when it's about 3 seconds left on the cooldown, the 5th skills, you're going to use your 4th skill and to get your defense reduction, decrease of all defense on your target. Actually, it does apply to a world boss. Not all the decrease all defense applied to a world boss, and this one actually worked. I paid attention to it, to be honest. So with 3 seconds left on your 5th skill cooldown, you're going to use that 4th skill. That lasts about 3 seconds. Then you're going to pop your 5th skill to have your proc on your 5th skill and do quite a lot of damage. So that's pretty much the rotation in World Boss Ultimate. In Shadowland, you can add the 3rd skill in this rotation just to get more crowd control out there. Very useful if you're finding a floor like a Songbird floor, like where you actually have to avoid getting CC a lot. It's a very good skill to use there. So pretty much it's just a skill to help you survive in game mode like Shadowland, the 3rd skill. But other than that, the rotation is pretty much 5, 2, 4, 5, 4, 5, 2, 4, 5, 2, 4, and proc always on the skill number 5. And it's pretty basic. If you get it rolling properly, survivability is pretty easy and the damage output is actually quite good. And guys, that pretty much cover what we're going to say about Rocket Raccoon. Again, I cannot really recommend this uniform to people because it is not an increase, a buff enough to actually make it worth the 1050 crystal. But if you do have the crystal laying around and you like Rocket Raccoon, or you want to be using your Rocket Raccoon more in PvE game mode, and you do have proper offensive build on him, well, this is a decent uniform to actually put on this little raccoon. Not rocket, but raccoon here. So that's pretty much my thought on this uniform. Next, guys, we're gonna move to the gameplay section. Like I said earlier, we're gonna have Corvus Glaive Wall Boss Ultimate Stage 30, Story Mode 13-1 on autoplay, and a PvP against regular tier 2 in where come on, Starco, get your anklers going, where we actually get to see Rocket get destroy pretty standard, guys. So that's what's coming for the rest of the video. So guys, on that, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and enable the bell next to the subscribe button to get notified when a new video goes live. Feel free to drop a like on this video to show support to the channel. And to finish this, guys, Star Agent Starco Gaming is out. In the ways of the weak, the times complete alone. You're the flag, the cream, the strength in me. I know. And you're driving me crazy. You keep on running slow down. You go too fast now. I'm telling slow down. I can't keep up, love. Your heart is shrinking faster, baby. There's enough to come out of your mouth, out of your soul, out of your soul.
The summer's calling. The summer's calling. If the kingdom is overthrown, meet me at the cornerstone. I know that I can't be without you. This bond is solid gold. We're a diamond and an emerald. It Took me forever to find you. 'Cause when it's all over, the love that you give will be there to guide you in every way. Now we've been through the cold and darkest days. The summer's calling. As we wait for the smoke to clear and we watch our dreams appear, I know that we can rise together. This vision that we share is ours. Together we can touch the stars. I know that we will see December. 'Cause when it's all over,